So in St. Petersburg, Florida, in the campus that I served for 18 years, in my beginning years there was a Montessori school. And I used to love to go out during the day and talk to the children and have them teach me certain things about life, and because they're so open-hearted. And there was a 5-year-old little boy that felt safe with me, and he would tell me how he could future see things and how he could know things and how they were going to happen, and how he would have dreams and how they could tune into that. And so he told me one day, he said, my parents they're going to be getting a silver car. I had a dream about it. And I went, oh, that's so exciting. That's so great. He said, yeah, I just know they are, but I can't tell them. So a few weeks later, he came to me and he said, Temple, my parents got the car. And I told him that I already knew it, and I knew that it was going to happen. And they told him that it was evil, and that was not okay for him to do that. And so they took him out of the Montessori school, and they put him into a religious institution that taught him that was not okay. Big breath, everybody, big breath. Welcome to America. Big breath. So they taught him that was not okay. Robert Bly, in his book, The Long Bag That We Drag Behind Us, would say that when we were 1 and 2 years old, we lived life in a 360 degree, full of energy and taking it all in and breathing it all in, and all the excitement about, oh my gosh, everything in life is ours. And all of a sudden, then someone started telling us, your energy is a little bit too much that day, and stop picking on your brother, and quit doing this, and you need to be quiet. And we then created this invisible bag that was behind us, and we started putting things in it. And then we got into a school system with bigger people that said it's not okay to do that, and you can't do that, and you have to pick only one thing you can excel at because you're not capable of 2, or whatever it was. And so we spent the first 20-something years, according to Robert Bly, putting things in the bag. We spend the rest of our lives taking things out of the bag. So today I would like to talk about our spiritual gifts. Gifts that we are given when we were sent here on this earth to exercise and to express. It reminds me somewhat of Rob Wergan, for those that came to that, as he was saying he had all these gifts when he was a little boy, but people told him it wasn't okay to have them, so he put it in his little bag. And it wasn't until he had an awakening going into 55 years old that he awoke and went, I'm taking my gifts out of the bag. And that's the point today, is what gifts do you have in your bag? Gifts that aren't realized, that aren't expressed, lead to long-term chronic pain, lead to a lot of red energy. These are not absolute things I'm talking today, but lead to often arthritis and achy joints and ways. Arthritis, aren't I right? Yes? So not in all ways, not a one-size-fits-all, but when one is not fully expressing, there's an energy disconnect somewhere. So what are your gifts? And even if you say, I don't know what they are, but I want to know. Say that with me. I don't know what they are, but I want to know. Say that with me. I don't know what they are, but I want to know. Even if you just create that level of intention, they will find you, and they will open you up, and they will find you again. Spiritual gifts, intuition. If you have it, it's like a muscle. The more you use, the more you have it. The more you claim it, the more you name it. That's the truth. Telepathy. You don't need to call anybody or beep them or text them or shout out at them. You can talk to them without any kind of instrument, but telepathy, reading energy, reading people's aura, and all those kind of things. Insight. rather than out of sight. Yes? So those gifts that we have. And, for me, one of the gifts that I recognized early on in my life is that people on the other side talk to me. I didn't hardly know what to do with the people on this side talking to me. You understand what I mean? People say to me, you know all about your other past lives? I said, I'm doing my best to keep up with this one. Okay? But I am always shocked that people that talk about reincarnation always have to be somebody famous. You know what I mean? They can't just be, I set up chairs on Sunday morning. What is that about? I'm not sure. But spiritual gifts. And so I would not really tell people that much that I had that gift. And I didn't want to make a business card and create that gift. But when my world was rocked was when I wasn't sharing that gift and I wasn't giving the credit that it deserved. And so my grandfather had died. He had been dead a couple of years. And he had gotten sober in his life. So when I was 29 years old, 2 years after he died, on the other side of my grief with that, I could hear his voice in the night and the room started shaking. Literally, the room started shaking. I hadn't had anything to drink that night, but the room was shaking, and it was just like a real, sci-fi kind of movie. And I heard my grandfather say, if you want to live, don't ever drink again because you're going to die. That was it. Never a question 35 years ago, just that was it. Thank you for sharing. Yes. And these are the kind of things that as we open ourselves up, we get guidance from all dimensions. Charles Fillmore did all the time. Myrtle, guidance from other things. But spiritual gifts of alignment. My first teacher in Unity was 10 years older than I. And so I really learned from her a lot. And we just thought for the rest of our lives we would be friends. And she got cancer and died really quick when she was 40 years old. She was a fourth generation like our Reverend here. Just amazing light like our Reverend here. And in that, it was one of the biggest griefs of my life to be 30 and realize that this friend that I thought I'd spend my whole life with was gone. And I grieved for years. But when the grieving stopped, that's the point I want to make. When the grieving stopped, she started appearing to me. Her birthday is 1/11, and I would see 1/11 all the time. Something would happen, or even on the radio, we're here today at 1/11. I mean, it was just everywhere. And anytime that would happen in my life, it was a sign for me to look at where I was. Does this work for you today? Are you with me? And so it would be all that. I think the shocker for me was when I did a visual, what is it called? A vision board. Thank you. You can tell this stuff just comes out. So a vision board. I did a vision board, and I put on there a really cool antique car. And I was talking to a friend of mine that, as a living, she talks to people on the other side. And she said, you have a friend that's about 40 coming through right now. And I said, oh, you mean Beverly? She said, yeah, she's telling me that's her. Well, Beverly is saying that that car you put on the vision board, you're still going to get it. I must be getting it in Santa Barbara because I've yet to get it, but I'm just saying. That must be one of the reasons that my family came here, you understand? But that really got me, It's one thing to get messages and instincts and feelings, but somebody knowing what I was doing, I was like, whoa, wow. And I'm glad I don't do things that I mind anybody seeing, so don't go there. Come back. Come back. But what are those lessons today? We have Kim Canton coming. And she's going to be introduced by our beloved Catherine Weisenberg, that she communicates with people all the time in other dimensions. Let's give Catherine some love. But Kim Canton, in the mudslide, lost half her family. And spiritual gifts came to her. And the thing is, we often think that spiritual gifts come to us when everything's going perfect and great and we get certificates from classes and we're a good student. Spiritual gifts actually come to us often in tragedy and on a downturn. Yes? And so if you're going through a tough spot right now, get ready, because your spiritual gifts will come. You know, we often know that we suffer from IDD, attention deficient disorder. 3 of you got that. Should I do it again? I think some of you have already started communicating with your loved ones. Okay, IDD, attention deficient disorder. Powerful intention. You know, spirituality is wherever you go, you have an intention, right? When you're coming over here to Unity, have an intention when you come. Today I'm going to meet new people. Today I'm going to receive something I didn't expect I was. In my work of 10 years in learning shamanism, I couldn't show up without an intention. Intention is the powerhouse that accelerates the consciousness of cause and effect. So if your intention is to live to be 150, you already have things happening to your body that may not be happening to the friends your age, but they're happening to you because of your intention. Yes? When you have an intention to receive your gifts and to be fully alive, regardless of your age, we spend so much time in our society focusing on the number. You know, when somebody dies, we don't say, did they live their whole life in joy and were they happy? What do we say? What are our first 2 questions? How old were they? Well, they were 89, but over there on the other side, they're 22. What different? You know, we don't say, did they live vibrantly? It's like, how old were they? We don't say, did they live full out? We want to know the number. That's intention. We're already setting ourselves up, all of us, for intention of what it is. When a finance team sets an intention, we got to be careful, we got to be safe, we got to be careful, we got to be safe. What do they get? Reasons to be careful and reasons to be safe. Are you with me? When you look at your life and you go, my intention is to focus on what I don't have yet, you get more of that intention. So it's a powerful thing. Not long ago, Dr. Michael Beckwith at Agape, he had an African leader, Brother Ismail Tete is his name, and he has a strong African accent. And so he was standing up and doing the lesson of the day. Michael wasn't there. And so he was saying how it was important that you live your life with a purpose. And he was saying, you know, he's like, you have to watch me because sometimes, you know, the words are kind of iffy. But he was obviously saying your purpose. And this woman went with an intention she was going to learn. So he thought he said porpoise. She thought he said that. So she went, well, live your life with a porpoise. I don't know that makes sense. But she surrendered to it. And she started thinking about the life of a porpoise and the water and the ocean and how free they are and how they're taken care of. And all of a sudden, true story, all of a sudden within just a few weeks' time, her life was entirely different. She may not have heard it right, but her soul got it right. You understand? For many of you, you may have heard something right, but it wasn't right for your soul. And what are your gifts? And when you say, here I am, God, I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to be whatever comes my way and fully express. I'm not holding back. I'm not going to keep all these little secrets in my bag. I'm going to come out loud. I'm going to come out of the closet. We're not talking about your sexuality. We're talking about who you are, how you be, and you got to know that God hears you.
Can you hear me now? Good. Can you hear me now? Good. Can you hear me now? Good.
Unlimited, anytime, anywhere minutes. Prayer, the power to connect. Powered by God.
Can you hear me now?
Of course, God can hear you, right? Of course, God can hear you. There were a couple of teenagers on their first date, and he takes her back to her home, and he leans against the door, keep her from going in, and he goes, "Can I kiss you goodnight?" And she goes, "Are you mad? You know, my parents, they could be awake." And he went, "Well, it's so late. I'm sure they're sleeping." "Oh, come on, you know, can I just get a good night kiss? Just one little, give me just a night kiss. It's our first date. This is great." She goes, "Oh, no, we can't, you know." And so he went, "Oh, I really wish you would." So by this time, the door opens, and the sister comes out, and she's like rubbing her eyes, and her hair's a mess, and she goes, "Dad is saying that please go ahead and kiss that young man." Or he said, "I can kiss him for you." Or if that doesn't work, Dad said he would come down and kiss him. Anything to get your hand off the doorbell. So your creator that created you, my friend, is going to keep ringing your doorbell. Is going to keep ringing your doorbell until you say yes. I'm amazed at the physical healings people have had. I'm amazed at the new life people have. I'm amazed at the energy that people experience because they have said yes to things that they've had in the little bag that they've been dragging behind them. And I see and I know that for you as well. In that consciousness, you see. And so it's important that we step into all of who we are, because the life suppressed, repressed, is depressed, is all of that. And that's usually 9 times out of 10 what it is. 9 times out of 10. Are you with me? Yes. And so, when Reverend Kathy and I came here, we were very clear that we weren't going to hold back anything. And we felt like we were sent by the universe by way of Reverend Heidi. We were sent here, and we were sent here to shake things up a bit because the energy here was starting to shrink and be mediocre. Yes? I'm not talking about the beauty of, oh, we are unity of Santa Barbara. Well, if you say that, it comes with an intention and responsibility. Are you with me? But the shrinking of, well, it's okay that we just have a few people, and it's okay that we don't seem to have enough money. In Santa Barbara, you know, where you pay $12 for a cup of coffee. Hello? And we give ours for free. Hello? Are you with me? So it's like we're not holding back anything. We're not holding back anything. And we're not holding back anything from you or from one another. So I'm going to go out there on a limb and I'm going to tell you what happened to my mother in her casket, if you want to know. And I'm not running a little long, but we are today. So can you still be with us without looking at your watch? Okay, good. So my mother died on January 26th, and we awaited to have her service in the latter part of February. Okay, and so my mother was in the casket for the family to view her. And so we weren't going to do a public viewing because she didn't want that. But she wanted the family to view her. And so my sister-in-law and a couple of other people were in the room, and they were looking at my mom. And they asked me if I wanted to come. I said, I'm good. You know, I grew up around a lot of caskets. I went, oh, no, I'm good. I got this memory of Mom, and I'm okay. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, the doorbell rings in my own consciousness and says, get up and go see your mom. So I go walking in there, and I just had come over me those 3 years of the COVID pandemic, whatever all that was, of all the times she wanted to hug me, and I wouldn't do it. because I'd either been around hundreds of people or I'd been on a plane and I wouldn't hug her. So when I saw her, I mean, if I could have figured out a way to do it in class, I would have climbed up in that casket and just wrapped myself around her, you know. And it wasn't one of those falling apart moments. I had a few of those and still do, and I'm okay with that. But it wasn't that. I was just embracing her, and I was telling her what a great mom she was. And how, you know, come and visit me. I can take it. Okay, come and see me, Mom. And I looked down. There's a tear coming out of her eye. There's a tear coming out of my mother's eye. And I say to my sister-in-law, I said, Tracy, Mom has a tear coming out of her eye. She's a hospice nurse. And she said, Temple, because, you know, this is so Southern. Temple. I said, really, look how wet my finger is. And I said, you come do it. And she went, and another tear came down my mom's eye. Life is forever connecting with us, you see, if we will allow it, if we have an intention about it, if we're willing to see it, if we get on the other side of something for the new side to reveal itself. So I'll close with the woman that tells her little boy to go out on the porch and get the broom. And he says, Mom, it's dark out there and I'm not going. I don't want to go. I'm afraid of the dark. Oh, Mom, no, I don't want to go. And she said, well, why are you so afraid? God's out there. So he opened the door and he said, God, if you're out there, would you please bring Mom the broom? Don't be afraid to pull out your gifts. We can all benefit and be better people because of it. Thank you for engaging me today. Thank you. Appreciate you.